What's going on, everybody? This is Peach from TraditionSportsOnline.com, and I will be joined shortly by Drifter Bub, also of Tradition Sports and also of the EA Sports Game Changer program. What we've got for you here is part one of a recruiting guide video series we're going to be putting together. We're going to document both our teams recruiting over the course of an online dynasty in hopes of shedding a little bit of light on the new system EA has implemented this year. So, follow along, and you'll learn how to scout, how to monitor lock percentages and why it's important to do so, how to offer scholarships, how to maximize your recruiting prowess with the new coach skill tree, how to leverage your strengths as a program, and ultimately how to get commitments from blue chippers across the country. Drifter will be taking the Arizona Wildcats, and I'll be taking the arch rival Arizona State Sun Devils. We'll be simming the games, but we'll be breaking up into recruiting such that you guys can follow along and hopefully learn a thing or two along the way. So as soon as you start up your dynasty, you're going to be prompted to the coach skill tree. And since this is a recruiting video, I'm going to go ahead and suggest that you unlock something on that tree, though you certainly have the game management option as well. So when initially starting off, you'll have the option of going with the locksmith or the scouting. I highly recommend the scouting at this point because it's one you can instantly take advantage of. Locksmith is good, but you need to be in a battle, and it needs to be a very applicable case for you to be able to be using that. So for the time being, unlock the scouting. It increases your efficiency, so you can uncover 25% of a prospect's skills for 50 points. And as you upgrade this, it goes from 25% to 50 to 100. So I highly recommend doing this. Okay. So once you back out of that, the next thing I suggest you do is you go into your redshirt players menu here. And what this enables you to do is it allows you to break down the year of all your players such that you can see exactly how many scholarships you have opening up next year and at what positions. So I go through here, I can see 22 scholarships and a bunch of them at defensive tackle, middle linebacker, halfback. So now that I address my needs, the next thing I like to do is go into my pipeline state. So in here you can see that I've got two pipeline states that are safe for next year and Florida, which is up in the air. Because pipeline states give you an extra 50 bonus points, they're absolutely critical. So what I want to do is I want to make sure I'm targeting guys from Florida, and that will allow me to maintain that pipeline. And it's a big state, and obviously a lot of good prospects come out of there. And while I'm at it, I also might want to target some guys from Texas in hopes of making that one as well. So now you can go ahead and set up your board. Now this year there's no real advantages to setting up your board a specific way. So the way I like to do it is I like to start by addressing interested prospects at need positions. So in this case, I'm looking at halfback, defensive tackle, middle linebacker, cornerback, and center. So there's a number of ways of doing this. So you obviously want to sort with the X button to see who's interested in you. And you can see here, Willie Young's a guy I added to my board. It's one of the first guys I added to my board. And a thing you want to pay attention to is your pitch info and how it lines up to other schools. Now, if there's any question of how you stack up relative to other teams, go ahead and add them to the board, and you can go back to your recruiting board and line it up and see exactly where you stack up next to, in this case, Miami and Texas. I'm guessing it's not good, but you always have the option of taking those players off your board. But anybody you're curious about, add them. You want to see how those bonuses play out. Every school can pump a minimum of 500 points into a particular prospect, but the things you need to watch out for are the bonus points. And on that note, you'll want to make sure that your board is full. There, again, are no advantages or disadvantages of setting up your board any particular way, but you do want to fill it out with 35 players this year, because no matter what, you'll be accumulating bonus points as long as they're on your board. So you can see here the way I set up my board is I went through at all my need positions: halfback, interior offensive line, defensive tackle, middle linebacker, cornerback. and I went after guys that are interested in me. Now you can see here my bonus doesn't stack up very well, and if we go to Will Young, you can see here again not stacking up very well, but it's impossible to predict who exactly the computer is going to go after and who they won't. So for the time being, even if guys are a reach, you want to add them to your board and hope that they might go neglected. Now, once I address all my need positions and interested players at those need positions, what I like to do is I like to go into all my pipeline states or potential. So I've got Texas here, I've got Florida, more Florida, and the strategy here is again to maximize your scope as a program and your reach. And you want to be realistic about this. Like I said, I really only have the hopes of adding one pipeline state this year and maintaining another. So, you know, if you've got one prospect in Pennsylvania, I wouldn't recommend specifically gunning for 4 or 5. It's 6 this year. 6 players to deem a pipeline state unless you get the upgrade. So I wouldn't go after 5 guys from that state just to make it a pipeline state. You need to be strategic in how you go about setting up your board and who to target. So on that note, some of the things you want to look for when scouting is, like I said, you get 25% of a particular player. So the way I'm going to go about scouting is some of these guys like middle linebacker Jacob Cunningham, go ahead and assume he's a bust and he's going to drop to a 68. Seeing as I'm Arizona State, I'm probably still going to be pretty interested in his services. So you have to sort of pick and choose your spots when you go about scouting. So here's a good example here. Interior offensive linemen, I need guards, I need centers specifically. Centers are generally harder to come by. Here's a 70 overall center. Like I said, I'm probably going to be interested in him no matter what. Since I only have a finite amount of scouting points, I've put it into the lesser player here at center and also some of the lesser guards that I have added to my board here in hopes of finding one that might be a gem. So like I said, the way you set up your board, it doesn't matter. It has no bearing on points like years past. So you want to fill out your board and you want to make it you want to do it in an order that makes sense to you. So for me personally, I go with need positions, interested targets at the top, the very best. And as we move along here, I go into other players at those need positions, and then pipeline players, and then I might round it out. Generally, I like to make my board such that I can sort by position, but this year they actually allow you to do that. You hold the left trigger down, and you're able to tab through here by position. You're able to tab through by need, by scholarships offered, by who's been scouted and who hasn't. So again, it doesn't really matter how you set up your board. I just wouldn't recommend it in doing it in any way that can otherwise be sorted. So another thing I like to do is I like to go and identify 10 to 20 players that I can't necessarily fit on my board, but that I want to actively monitor as we progress here. And I want to do so because you never know who the computer is going to go after or how hard. Because of that, you're going to be dropping guys off your board at a pretty good clip. So you want to have guys to fill in and put on your board just in case. And like I said, there's no advantages or disadvantages of adding guys to your board other than you accumulate their bonus points. So you're going to want to keep that board full with as many guys as you can. So after I've done all my scouting, after I've gotten, a list of players to actively monitor, after I've done all my redshirting here and I've seen exactly where my needs are, and I've got my recruiting board in good shape, pretty much good to go here for the preseason, okay? Like I said, the one thing you want to monitor is your bonus points. And with specific players, those might become dynamic over the course of a season. So we've got middle linebacker Jacob Cunningham here, and we've got his bonus points being proximity to home, coach prestige, conference prestige, and pipeline state, okay? Now, I know that proximity to home isn't going to change, but if I don't quite stack up as well against San Diego State, Stanford, or Oregon, I know that coach prestige and conference prestige are dynamic throughout the course of the season. So this could change in the middle of the season. So that's something to actively monitor as well. If you don't already know, you can just go into my school and see where you stack up in all your pitches. And obviously these top three are going to be very much dependent on a particular recruit. So there you have it. I'm going to shoot it over to Drifter now and his Arizona Wildcats and see exactly what he's doing as far as his preseason is concerned.